Aren't you in New York? They love calling it the city. I'm in the city. It's hard to get back when you're in the city back to Brooklyn, man. Dude, last time I was in Manhattan, it was damn near impossible to get back to Brooklyn. Like the cab driver said, no, I don't go to Brooklyn. So what? You don't go to Brooklyn? No, I don't go to Brooklyn. I get no money coming back from Brooklyn. It's not worth my time, so I don't go back to Manhattan from Brooklyn. This is not a waste of my time. So no, I don't take you to Brooklyn from Manhattan. I'm sorry.
You're
just gonna have to walk from Manhattan to Brooklyn because
you have to walk.
Yeah, because the train, the train is so slow. They barely run. So like once you come from Brooklyn into Manhattan, if you don't leave at a certain time, you're stuck. You might as well like pony up and get the hotel. Because you're not getting back. Dude, like remember on that episode?
I'm not taking you from Rockville to Fredericksburg. No.
Dude, like remember that episode of those guys that threw that party over the guys that were throwing that party over at the McDonald's, and they were trying to get back, and it was like impossible for them to get a cab.
Yeah, they walked. I think they fucking walked from one borough to another. They fucking walked.
They did.
Yeah. I
think they finally got a cab. They're like, oh my God, dude, are you serious?
How in the fuck do you walk from one borough to another borough? Like, Jesus, that is a lot. That's a bit much, man.
Dude, that was way before Uber was even thought of.
That was way before cabs. I mean, I think it was like horse and carriage.
No, I mean, they still had cabs. It was just like impossible to get around.
They had to catch a boat.
Dude, but at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, it's damn near impossible to catch a cab back from Manhattan to any other borough in the city, So we're at a very fortunate time where we have Uber and smartphones. Dude, they had no smartphones, dude.
Yes.
Like, dude, they had to go.
I don't know how many times, but see, it's funny you mention that. I don't know how many times you've gotten lost, and I'm like, bro, just send me a pin, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Send you a pin, and I'm like, send me a pin of where you're at. And you're like, I don't know how to do that.
But dude, they had to find a payphone.
Yeah.
And God knows
they had to find a working payphone.
Dude, and God knows how far that one payphone was to the next. To make that phone call.
Yeah.
To go catch a cab.
Yeah, dude. Like,
dude, they probably call 411, Remember 411?
Yeah.
Call information.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit was horrible back then, man.
Well, what's information now? Like, isn't that just like Yelp? Now that I'm trying to think, like, I don't think there is information line anymore. I don't know if there is a 411 anymore, but it's Google. Like, yeah, if I was to look up, like Zips dry cleaners in Bethesda, I would just Google that.
But back then, they had yellow pages. At the phone booth.
Or they had the yellow pages on the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
God.
So
hopefully Mickey can get back to Brooklyn, man, wherever he's staying at. I don't know. But man, I'm in Midtown.
I'm in Midtown, man. Let's see this phone.
Because I'm like, what city? What city are you in? You got to be specific, man. What city are you located in? He's man, a city. I was like, dude, you're like Oklahoma City? So you got to name all these cities that he lived in.
Yeah.
Like, are you in the Hamptons? Are you in freaking Oklahoma City? Are you in Brooklyn?
I'm in the city. It's a night out in the city.
What city? DC?
DC? Baltimore?
Brooklyn?
LA, Vegas, Boston, Charlotte, Atlanta, Miami, Tacoma, No, not Tacoma. Tampa.
Yeah, Tacoma, man. Tacoma Park.
New
Are you in
Orleans.
Tacoma Park.
New Orleans, Detroit.
Are you in Glenmount?
I'm in the city, man. I'm in the city.
Glenmont? Is that where he's at?
Clearly, that's a clue that he's not to be found. He's not available, and he's not to be found.
I'm in the city. That's great.
I'm not to be found. So
that's really cool.
It's really cool, man. It's very cool.
It's very cool.
So you're in Fredericksburg, man. You can't catch no cab from Rockville to Fredericksburg at 2 a.m. coming out of the ale house after the UFC fight at 2 a.m.
No, you just gotta go get a hotel, man.
Just gotta get a hotel.
Dude, Mickey's gonna be scrounging around for like a place to crash out at. He's like, man, where am I gonna stay?
Hey,
didn't that happen at the DNC? Let's get this straight, man. What happened?
No, we left.
And like, what was that? What year was that? 2017?
No, that was 2015.
2015. Okay, so that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was September after the road trip.
So what happened with that?
He was supposed to get an Airbnb and he never did.
Dude, what he planned on it like that day? He goes, "Oh, we'll just get one."
I said, "Here's the deal, man, because it'd be like a cool little, 2-parter episode of Zombie Squad, or like, maybe a 1-parter, but like we could do some cool stuff in Philly during the DNC, and then we get up the next day, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Here's the deal, man. I'll drive. You get an Airbnb, like a really small, Airbnb in downtown Philly, like right there." In Philly, right there by the DNC, but something simple, man. It doesn't have to be like, it could be like a 50 a night, 80 a night, and we'll do the math. I get all the gas, you get the Airbnb for one night, and then if the Airbnb is more expensive, then I'll split that difference with you. We'll make it all even out, right? I get all the gas, I'll drive, you get the Airbnb. He lands. I pick him up from the airport. We're heading to Philly. He goes, I got to get the Airbnb. And I'm like, we're driving there now. And you got to get the Airbnb. And you're like on your phone trying to get the Airbnb now. Like, that's not going to work. And he couldn't find anything. And he was like battling with people on the prices they were trying to charge him. I'm like, yeah, dude, because you're calling day of. Of course they're going to fucking ping you with like $250 a night for one night, day of. Because it's the day of, dude. Like, they have to. If they knew, but now they're like, this dude's like chilling on his couch and he's like, I got to go to my other property and clean it. I got to go in there. But like, had you booked this, weeks in advance, like I told you to, at least a week. I know he had at least a week's notice.
You can't book an Airbnb the day of. No way.
Well, especially not nowadays. Nowadays,
nowadays
it's way more. He booked that one Airbnb on the road trip that turned out to be like a king-size bed in someone's house.
Oh, dude, that was a disaster.
That was a disaster. He booked that day of. But I was even on him like the whole road trip. Like, bro, you have to book this. You got to start now. Like we're going to be there in 4 days, 5 days, however it was. And every day he was like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Ends up getting a fucking king-size bed.
And wasn't there something wrong with his phone? Where he wasn't getting the internet connection or something. He was like, I don't have enough minutes.
I don't know. There's always something wrong. There's always something wrong with your phone. You never have enough minutes. You finally got an iPhone. I'm proud of you. But
yeah, finally.
Goodness gracious, man. There's always something. There's always somebody with some phone issue, man. Like, I was baffled, bro. Like, I was baffled by some of the stuff. I was like, what is going on, man? Like, this is not how things are done. Like, this is not how, first off, this is not how grown-ups work. And then, but whatever, man. Like, hey, booking Airbnb's night of, getting a king-size bed in someone's loft while they're there. Like I even told him. So on the DNC thing, I was like, dude, I'm not getting someone's room. So listen, this is what I will say though. This is what I will say. He pulled through extraordinarily at WinterCon in New York when we went to WinterCon and filmed all the cosplayers there at WinterCon for Rogues and Sinister. So he booked a freaking an immaculate but actually no, it was a really nice room in this huge house that they kind of like split into 4 sections and made like and had like 4 huge lofts, you know, in this house. And this one loft that he booked, he nailed it, man. Found a great spot and he booked it. And it was 2 beds. We crashed there that night, got up the next morning, went back to WinterCon the next day. Smooth sailing, massive amounts of footage, fantastic freaking, you know, Comic-Con production, man. But see, then that's when I told him, I was like, dude, I don't care. I don't care if it's just an attic with beds for this one. And he found one. I think it was like $50 day of. Like he got it the day of.
And where was that at in New York?
Oh man, where the fuck was that? It's where Biggie's from. It's where that casino's at.
Was that in Jamaica, Queens?
Yes, Jamaica, Queens. Thank you. Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was cool, man. And we got a lot of cool footage outside of the Comic-Con, like Zombie Squad stuff, like traveling around. We got some you know, delicious pho, Korean pho and Japanese steakhouse, you know, right under the L, right there by like just like all those, like it's like classic Jamaica, Queens, you know, New York. It's like the shops. It's not like Walmart and 7-Eleven. It's like the cigarette shop and the laundromat, like all the shops dedicated. It was like you know, the oh god, Salvation. It was like the Salvation Army shop, and then it was like, you know, a head shop, and then there was a dry cleaners. Like there was the vacuum shop, you know, like the store to take your vacuum to. It was dope. It was a dope little day trip.
Yeah, I have had some great times in New York, man. Like I remember going to New York. This was back in like 1998, dude. And like I went to the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Like we went to this club that was bumping. That was back when, you know, the tunnel was bumping back in the day when Hot 97 was around and DJ Clue and all that stuff was popping off. I remember like we popped up in Manhattan, and this was 1998, and we stayed at like this bodega, like, and it was a hostel. I'm like, it was like $40 on the Lower East Side of Manhattan to stay. I'm like, and you know, coming from Maryland, like I wasn't used to staying at a hostel. Like I didn't know what that shit was. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, how much? They're like $40. I was like, they gave us a key. Oh, it was a hard copy key. I remember, like, yeah, it was a hard copy key, and I get upstairs of the bodega. I'm like, where's the room at? And there's like 8 different rooms and like 1 bathroom for the whole entire complex, you know. And like I get in the room, I'm like, and it's the dial TV. Remember that joint? It had like 8 channels.
Yeah.
And it was all in black and white.
TV.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell am I staying in? Like,
dude, they didn't have to pay for cable. They didn't have to cable. Hey, listen, man. I'll tell you what though, it's better than nothing. But here's what would drive me nuts, because back in '98, dude, I was a night owl. And if I'm sitting there in front of that TV at midnight and the American flag pops up, starts playing the Star Spangled Banner, and then goes to static. You remember at like midnight, a lot of channels went off, and they would play. That's
how it was, dude. I'm like,
yeah, dude, I would lose it. That's where I'd be like,
I couldn't. It had the turn knob on the joint. I'm like, I'm turning it. I'm like, what the hell, man? I was like, I probably stayed in that room for like 2 hours, because I got back from the club at like 5, and then like I figured out my way around Manhattan on the Lower East Side, because this was back when they didn't have any GPS or nothing like that. So you just kind of had to, like, I figured out,
like, you had to have a map or something, right? Like,
dude, you just had to have Yeah, you had to like I pulled up some directions off of MapQuest because that's the only thing that they had. But when you're driving,
they had MapQuest.
they had MapQuest in '98.
Oh, no shit.
And
Wow. It all melds together.
yeah, they had MapQuest, but it was bogus. So I was driving around Manhattan, and then I got lost because I went to this after party. I remember, like, we got out of the club at 5. I went to this after party with some dudes from New York. They brought me in. They're like, hey, man, we're going to this after party. I'm like, all right, bet. I was like, I got this bogus-ass room on the Lower East Side in this bodega. They're like, where are you staying at? I was like, yeah, we're staying at this joint that was in a bodega. They're like, all right, come with us. So we hop in. I'm driving on the Lower East Side. It's 5 in the morning. I park my car. I don't even know, like, where the hell I parked my car the next morning because we went to the after party till 8. So we got an after party. I'm like, the sun's like beaming like shit. I'm like, where the hell am I? I don't know what's going on. I finally make it back to the bodega because I dropped my friend off there at the bodega, at the hotel or at the hostel, whatever. And dude, it took me forever to like find that joint, man. I was driving around for like 2 hours. and that would have never been a problem in this day and age if I would have had the GPS with the iPhone, just punch in where I'm at. But it was a challenge back then, man.
Yeah.
But it was.
Yeah, it was.
You know, dude, those are the things that I remember about. Those are.
I think like the furthest I went outside PG when I was younger, outside PG, I think the furthest I went, I never went in the city. I still get lost. I've been in the DC National Guard for 10 fucking years now, just coming up on 10 years. I still get lost in that fucking city.
But dude, it was such a good time as I can remember, man. Like, because it was just such of a random trip. Like, we just ended up just, hey, you want to go to New York for the night? You know, this club is bumping on the Lower East Side. We'll figure out how to get there. You know, we'll just figure it out as we go. You know, there was no planning. Like, I didn't plan on like staying at a hostel. You know, there was one roll of toilet paper for the whole floor,
bro. Like these people know exactly what they're doing. And you know what? They're probably killing. These are probably the same people killing it on Airbnb now, doing it the right way.
Dude, it was probably the same guy that was renting Don and Keith their apartment. The same dude. He had a little enterprise going on. He was like, he was operating the fucking.
That was like a Chinese restaurant or something.
Yeah, dude. He was operating above a bodega. You know what I'm saying?
Like, whose cat was that? They had a cat. They had a cat in their. What would you call that kind of apartment? Like, it had a kitchen, it had a bathroom.
It was you know what it was? It was a taxpayer. You know what a taxpayer is?
Yeah.
So that's exactly what it was. It means that what they were staying at, it had commercial in the front of the building, and then it had residential up above. So there's a lot of taxpayers in DC.
Oh, all throughout Baltimore. Like, those apartments are above.
And them joints catch on fire, man. There's a lot of fire hazards in taxpayers. That's what it used to be called. It used to be called taxpayers.
Yeah, because that industrial stove goes off in that Chinese restaurant, bro. That shit blows up. Those people living above it are dunzos.
Yeah, so my buddy was staying at a taxpayer, right, in Baltimore City.
Because I remember they would have those micro driveways in the back alley.
And there was a restaurant underneath of it, and it would get so hot from the stove up above. I'm like, dude, this is a fire hazard, man.
Yeah.
So that's why those taxpayers a lot of them catch on fires, because like say if that stove is right underneath the building that they're staying at, that floor heats up and can catch on fire right on there.
Yep.
Like, I was like, dude, it's like 100 degrees in here.
It's hot, man. It's so hot. Yeah.
So yeah, he was staying in the taxpayer. Just like Shorty's was a taxpayer. There was
rooms up there, right?
Remember Shorty's? Like, if you go in the front, it was the bar, and then right up above, there was people living up above there.
Mm-hmm. Shorty's. Shorts, short stumps, man. I remember shorts. Here we go. I remember shorties. Shorties was fun, man.
It was a dope spot, man.
For those who don't know, we shot a music video. We shot a music video at Shorties. Let me see if I can pull this joint up. That's Shorties.
Dude, there's the mayor.
There's the mayor. That's Shorties.
Dude, that was a spot.
There's TechFall. There's TechFall.
TechFall.
TechFall. Man, this latency though. What's going on with this latency? Yeah, there he goes, man. Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, those are the good old days, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
Man, some of the girls he had in the video, you know, it was definitely a Baltimore-based music video. Let me tell you that. Be more, baby. Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Called me Dundalk Dan after that. Dundalk Danny. I'm like, dude, my name ain't Danny, bro.
Dundalk Danny.
So, did you shoot that in Dundalk? I'm like, no, I actually shot on the east side
of Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, where? Downtown Baltimore?
No, we're in East Baltimore.
East Baltimore, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I had to map quest the directions. I got fucking lost out there. I did know where the 90. All I needed was the 95 exit. Where's the 95 exit? Signs for 95. Yeah.
It was basically like Highland Town, Canton.
Oh, I know. When people ask me, when I talk to people about you, I'm like, yeah, you ever seen season 2 of The Wire? That was Chris's life. From 05 to 09.
Dude, now I look back at some of that stuff, man. I'm like, that shit was crazy, man.
I bet, man. I mean, it was like, listen, man, it was just it's just
you were living in New Carrollton at the time.
Yep, I was at the condo.
Yeah,
I was doing all right. I mean, I was at Discovery Channel. You know, I was doing all right. I was making it happen, man. You know, it was funny you mentioned Hot 97, dude. You know, like the radio stations, when the radio stations were their own like thing, dude. Like iHeart just bought everybody out, streamlined everybody. I think 101's an iHeart radio station now, you know?
Yeah.
You got to go? Is it bedtime?
No, I'm
curfew? Is my audio coming out of your laptop or is it coming out of your headphones this time?
No, it's coming out of my headphones. Good.
Good. Okay. She's not going to yell at me talking at my ass. But yeah, man. Hot 97. I remember like a number of gigs that I had in New York in the last 15 years, you know, a number of gigs, especially when like you said, Keith and Don were out in New York, and then they finally got that better place. Did you ever go to that nicer place they had?
That was in Prospect Park. That was in Prospect Park.
Little Jamaica.
No, because me and Don were like on a tangent. You know, like running around trying to chase each other all around.
I'm in Manhattan now, man. Now I'm in Flatbush now, man. I'm in Jamaica, Queens now, man.
Dude, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning when we finally linked up. But we were talking about that last episode, how that was crazy because we're trying to go to that one rave that was happening in I think it was in Brooklyn or something like that. That we ended up meeting up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. We were chasing each other around town. Like, dude, I don't know, man. I was like, I just came out here, bro. Find me. It's like, where's Waldo?
Send me a pin. Send me a pin. Send me a pin, bro. Send me a pin.
And then he was like,
pin me, bro.
Like he wouldn't catch a cab for his life. You know what I'm saying? He'd wait for like the train forever. I'm like, dude.
You know, he don't fuck around with his money though.
You know
see,
how
that's the thing. So you got to respect that though. He don't fuck around with his money though. He
made it work, dude. Like I'm too impatient. Like I'm like, fuck that, dude. I'll take a cab.
You know, like you can call it whatever you want, but you know, like some people be like, oh, he's cheap, and I'm like, hey, listen, he doesn't fuck around with his money. He puts his money where it needs to be and where it should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if he thought it wasn't worth his money, then he wouldn't go.
Right.
In New York, you know, like he wouldn't.
Well, he was just there. He just happened to be there. And okay, so yeah, I will admit that Don might, you know, Mickey might take a few extra minutes to get ready and to get going. I will say that. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, he doesn't fuck around with his money. Like there's people that just blow their fucking money. You're guilty of it too. You know, like I've seen some of your bar tabs. I'm just like, what in the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, but I became like more conscientious.
Of course, conscientious. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a big word for you.
Of the whole money situation.
Just say, just. You don't have to use big words on this show, man. You became more smart with your money.
I definitely have. I've made some good investments.
Yeah.
And I've done some research, and like this is the first time me and the lady's been out in like months. You know, she's been working from home, and I've been working every weekend, and I've been trying to ante up on the overtime. So, and then like I have an investment opportunity coming up, like in Baltimore, like with my buddy Mario that we're working on. So like, I mean, I'm gonna look into it, see if it's a good deal, see if it works out. Like I told Don about it. I say, hey, you know, I have an opportunity to make some money here. I'm like, you can check it out with me, man. I was like, if you want to get in on one of these properties, like he's like, oh, well, I'm not going to be here for the long haul. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to make a move fucking quickly. If it all pans out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to make a jump on it because the stock market, you're only going to make, you got to put a lot of money and time into the stock market. Like, I ain't got time for that shit. Like, I mean, it's good. And he's helped me out a lot with the stocks and so forth. But I think, like I already told you, man, like real estate is the way to go. Like in Baltimore City, like you don't know, is that they're building the entertainment district in the city of Baltimore in the next 5 years.
Building an entertainment district.
In an entertainment district in the city of Baltimore.
In what sense? Like a micro Hollywood? In
the west side of Baltimore, over by Raven Stadium.
Okay.
So my investor buddy, like he's like, you got to jump on it now. He goes, because in the next 5 years, you're not going to have the opportunity to buy something this cheap. He said, I think that's a good opportunity for you to jump on it now. When they build this entertainment district, it's the revenue is going to jump up, and then everything's going to go back to normal. Like the Ravens, they're going to still probably in the next 5 years have full capacity at some point.
Yeah.
You know, so it's going to be on the up and up. He goes, I think you should invest in one of these properties and just at least check it out and see if it's good for you. So that's where my next plan is like I was supposed to go to Baltimore today, but he postponed it to a further date. So I think that due to inclement weather, we can arrange for another meeting and see what goes on from there and see if it's a good opportunity for you to invest. So, I mean, that's my next game plan is to go to Baltimore and check out some of the properties out there. And Morrill Park is the neighborhood that I'll be investing in. So
there you go, man.
If Dom wants to jump in, I mean, he's more than welcome to at least check it out. I've offered it to him. Said, listen, here's what I'm doing. I'm meeting up with my investor guy who's kind of guiding me through. Mm-hmm. like he's kind of like Don is investing me with and guiding me through the stock market. You know what I'm saying? But he's guiding me through like the investment properties and checking out some of his properties. He has 7 properties in Baltimore City that he's invested in, and some of them are rental properties, and some of them that he sold, and one of them that he lives in, the other one that he bought for extremely low price that he rehabbed. And we're just going to take a look at that and see what the next move is. And I mean, I've never invested in any property other than like this house that I bought now that I'm living in, but that's not an investment. That's my place of residence.
Well, it's an investment.
That I built a recording studio in and so forth. You know what I'm saying?
It's an investment. Yeah, definitely an investment. I mean, like, you know, me and Melissa, we got the house. It's an investment. It's an investment on a number of levels. I got the studio in here, and now I'm fucking working from it, man. Like this is the office. This is the broadcast center, the studio. So yeah, man. It's an investment. It's an investment.
So I mean, I'm happy about that. And looking at some new ventures.
New ventures, huh?
Yeah, and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm trying. Huh?
That's what's going on in the TechFall realm of things.
That's the TechFall realm of things. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
well,
looking at some different opportunities and building the enterprise. You know, maybe get some more money to invest in our product that we got going on. So.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I mean, the studio just got bigger on my end. Yeah, we got another Rogues and Sinister production coming up. 3rd seasons. I got to revamp all the dates I sent you.
Okay.
So you got to recheck all your date invites eventually. You know, not now because we're on the show, but yeah. But man, I mean, listen, dude. I mean, you know, big moves and big changes are coming down the pike. Maybe there might be that opportunity to be able to utilize that initial investment that you guys were mentioning, how I shot down $1,000 per head to total out 3, 1,000 from you, 1,000 from Mick, 1,000 from me. So it's 3,000. And I'm like, shit, what can I do with that? Well, there might actually be something to do with that. So, you know, we'll talk offline about that, but there might be a completely different kind of production realm as far as that goes. Previous guest was on here. He runs a virtual cloud production suite, I guess you could call it, using the Unreal 4 engine, which is like mostly used for video games, but a lot of films are using it now. And so there might be this opportunity to somehow implement CGI on a really affordable basis, you know, using his platform to produce very simplistic stuff. But, you know, we'll get there. We'll get to that. But yeah, man, I mean, you want to talk politics?
If you want to dabble into it, go ahead.
Well,
I mean, you know, I'm open game for anything. I know there's a big election year coming up, so.
Well, how about this? Let's start the conversation off like this. And you can be honest if you want. But see, I'm trying to be very careful what I say because I still serve, and you're a DC fireman anyway. So like you're in DC, so I don't know how careful you have to be. after, you know, he said that shit he said about military, I'm a little bit more open with my mouth now. But how much change do you want? Let's put it that way. How much change do you want in November?
I mean, I just want all the BS to stop, really. I mean, I just want change, you know what I'm saying? As far as like all these riots and all these protests to really stop. As far as change goes, and I want protection for like the police and fire department, you know what I'm saying, and military. That's what I really want, because we're in danger in our lives in these situations that we're involved in, you know. Like, and I feel like a lot of these people, or a lot of these protests, are for defunding the police department and so forth. And there's been numerous attacks on first responders in Washington, D.C. alone. You know, so I feel like there shouldn't be a reason why that I have to go over the radio and request for MPD and get a response of like, why do you need MPD? You know what I'm saying? Like, when my life is at risk. You know, they should automatically, with no question, dispatch MPD to our location. So that's where I have a problem with the whole defunding of the police and these protests that are going on to defund the police and all the stuff that's going on and all these riots. It's unsafe for first responders and police. And you can't even go into a situation where somebody fires at you and you have to fire back without having severe consequences. You know, that's what you're trained to do. Then don't give them any weapons at all. They've already taken away a lot of the weapons that police uses. You know, like, I think that they should have a training regimen set in place, like a whole new training program for police officers. You know, I think that's where a lot of the problems rest. And, you know, there's a lot of bad cops out there, and there's a lot of good cops. I worked with a lot of great police officers, and there's a couple of bad apples that, you know, their outcome has changed the world, and it's became a major catastrophe in this country. So I don't think that one president could change the whole world. You know, he has to go through a process as well. You know, I think it's just going to take some time, but it starts within your community and your police force. You know, not one president can change everything. He's only one man. He only serves a 4-year term unless he gets reelected. You know, and President Trump has dealt with a great deal of problems in the last 4 years, from an economical standpoint, from a protection standpoint, from a military standpoint, from COVID-19.
He hasn't dealt. You think he has dealt with these problems?
I mean, in his term, per se, as a wide horizon. You know what I'm saying?
You think he has dealt with them?
Yes, yeah. From a wide standpoint, like, these are the issues that have come about during his term. You see what I'm saying?
Sure, these are the issues that came about during his term.
Yes.
Did he deal with them and or properly deal with them?
I mean, not until we see severe change. You know, it's a long process. I mean,
I knew we shouldn't have gotten into politics, because
I mean, that's just kind of what I see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a politician. Like, I'm just speaking on behalf of what I see, and and I've been on a lot of runs where less police are dispatched to the location, and the direct cause and effect of like this whole defunding the police and so forth, and all over the world. But I just hope that it all changes for the better, and we can be safe, man. That's what I wish. I'm not really into politics or political, but that's what I want to see is more protection for our civilians, our military, our police, our firefighters, our EMTs. You know, that's what I wish for in the near future. I mean, this coronavirus isn't going anywhere anytime soon. We're still going to have to be protected, wearing masks, social distancing, and so forth, like until they come out with a vaccine. I mean, but it's just,
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
I think we need a major change, man. Major change, dude. Election. It's election year, baby. It's time to make a major fucking change, man. Nothing, in my opinion, has been dealt with the way it should have been. I think there's been a lot of disrespect towards the people that have had, there's a lot of people that have had his back, and he even disrespected them. But I mean, I'm a registered Democrat. I'm a Democratic patriot. So a lot of people think I'm a Trump supporter because of this. I'm a Democratic patriot, baby. And also I'm a Marylander. But, I still showed respect because I serve still. But the straw that broke the camel's back for me was, those who his statements his statements towards military, fallen soldiers, vets. So I think what little there was, simply because of what it is I do in the Guard, what little respect due to my position, that's pretty much out the window. So, but moving on, man. Moving on. You got a couple of new tracks, man. Got a couple
I sent you over a couple tracks.
We got a couple of new tracks on the endless TechFall mixtape that's endlessly being mixed.
Yeah.
And taped. But I mean, unique sound. It's like trip hop, rub step.
It's my own sound, man. I think I've come into my own, as you've seen in recent years. Like, I think I got into that element. I want to say, shit, man, like 2012. I was looking back at some of my old stuff. I was like, wow, man, I've been producing music since, really started producing music like 2012. I mean, before, I started getting into producing music around when we were doing the Hoffman special and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as getting into in the production side of it, started getting serious and started buying equipment and gearing up. But I want to say 2012. I was like, man, I made my first track on the MPC and getting serious with it.
Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Am I not sharing audio?
Yeah, you are. I can hear it, but it's very low.
Can you hear it?
A little bit.
I can't tell if the show's picking it up. Hold on, I gotta try something else here. Let's see. Advanced.
So what'd you think about that track I sent you? I mean, honestly.
I like this track. All right, hold on, man. I'll figure this shit out. I like this Zombie Squad joint. I mean, it's. I have terrible taste too, though. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You'd be like, hey, man, that shit was horrible. Horrible.
Hey, listen, I mean, not everything is for everybody. So, I mean,
like a lot of my early stuff that I was listening, I've been listening to like some.
Hey, whatever.
Early,
fucking, we'll figure out this track shit later.
But the stuff that I was in the experimental phase,
yeah,
I've been listening to a lot of the experimental stuff like in the beginning, and I was like, man, I was really trying to figure out where my sound is, man. You know, like what is me,
right?
And it took me a long time to figure out that, and then I think like I came to it when I did that dub zombie or that dub Cobra zombie joint. You know what I'm saying? Like you were like, dude, that's it. You were like, dude,
bro,
that's
now
it.
that track was banging.
You're like, dude, that's it, man.
But listen, even like the best ones out there, dude, it's like, I just had this guy on a couple episodes ago, Have Not Jones. And he's like, I'll finish a track and it might not be that great, but I throw it out there anyway. Because someone might like it, even though it's so obscure and so weird, someone might dig it, you know? And like, there's this track I just happen to have on my phone somehow, and I don't even know how to describe it. I don't even think it's dubstep or what's that crazy EDM? It's like, you know, zombie step or whatever the fuck this track is. To me, this shit bangs, bro. This shit bangs, you know, and like, you know, I might want to use it for a project, somehow contact this artist and be like, hey, please give me rights to use this. I got a great idea for the yada, yada, yada. Like it bangs in my position, in my opinion, but I know for a fact if I played it for Melissa, she, in 5 seconds, she would turn it off. I started playing your tracks and she's like, if you're done with that, you know, because I like, what the hell is this thing called? Zombie Squad New Trip Hop Joint Logic Mix. Yeah, I love your titles. They're so unique. Zombie Squad New Trip Hop Joint Logic Mix. I mean, it's a bit long in my opinion, but
well, I mean that's just the joint that I sent you.
I know. You're gonna
rename.
I know you're gonna rename it for like, you know, a release or whatever. And then I'm a motherfucking zombie double new logic. I'm a motherfucking zombie double new logic. Okay. I mean, these titles, they're unique. I mean, they're a bit long.
You gotta say it in like the Christopher Walken voice.
I'm a motherfucking zombie double new logic.
I like it.
Zombie Squad New Trip Hop Joint Logic Mix. This shit bangs. It's phenomenal, really. Like it gets my head. Oh, wowie whoa. I'm a motherfucking zombie double new. I'm a motherfucking zombie double new logic. Great title. Great title. It's a working title. Come on, man. It's a working title. Knock it off. That's not what it's going to be called on the album, bro.
Oh my god.
But it bangs, man. Shit, it bangs, dude.
Thank you, man.
I
appreciate it.
But dude, like I had to make the Zombie Squad joint the theme song for Zombie Squad. I had to, because like oh. I was like, yo, this shit, and like it's because I think you finally found your formula, and still some of the tracks you come out with, they need work, but then some of the tracks you come out with, it's just like, dude, this guy's finally finding his formula, his sound, his style. But his sound, like there's no other way to put it as far as like, you know, a musician has to find their sound, and you know, a filmmaker has to find that vision. And once you figure out what that vision is, you can tell any story with that vision. Nolan has a drastically different vision than Scorsese, and Scorsese has a drastically different vision than Spielberg. But if all three of those guys got the same script and did the same movie with their vision, we would have three totally different dope ass flicks. Totally different. Same character names, same location, same kind of conflict, you know, same year. But like that's something that like they should do, is like, that would be like a cool like limited Netflix series. That would be a cool limited Netflix series. Each episode is like an hour-long film, right? But it's the same fucking script. 60-page script, 60-minute film, right? But it's the same fucking movie, but and now who's still alive? Christopher Nolan does it, Tarantino does it, Scorsese does it, Spielberg does it. I don't know, like James Gunn does one. And I don't know, like now I'm like, who's another big time? And Spike Lee does one, right? Like the same script. So every episode is going to be same characters, same location, right? Same conflict. If it's like a World War II, it's all the same movie, but it's just done drastically different. And like, that should be like a trick. That should be like this little micro special limited series that Netflix pulls off. Like, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think anyone's ever done that. But then again, it's like, who wants to make they're always going to shoot that down. Like, who's going to want to make the same movie over and over again? There's always remakes. But what if there's 6 one-hour remakes, all done right away, all by different filmmakers? Has that been done before? I don't think I don't know. Well, there's your proof of concept, Netflix. There's your proof of concept. A lot of people are accepting podcasts as proof of concept.
Yeah.
You know, fucking Kevin Smith did a movie called Tusk. But his whole proof of concept for Tusk was he was like just telling this random story on his podcast. And then someone was like, hey, we'll greenlight that shit. The way you told it was so well done that if you write it, we'll greenlight it. So but in this case, I have no idea what this hour-long movie would be that was redone 6 times. I have no idea what that script would end up being, but that should be sick.
Yeah, it would. It'd be ridiculous.
But think about it, like the same movie, if you watched, I don't know, Die Hard. If Die Hard was cut down to an hour and you watched it 6 times back to back, but Die Hard was produced, directed, starring different people. You know, Nolan did it his own way. Spike did it his own way. Spielberg did it his own way. Scorsese did it his own way. Tarantino did it his own way. Like that, I don't know, I'd watch it.
I mean, that would be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, see what, unfortunately right now, that's not the experimental stuff that they're looking for. They're looking for experimental stuff that's done kind of like during the quarantine, like the new normal type of stuff is what they're grabbing, like Host. And I think I told you guys about this movie Host on Shudder. It's a seance demonic possession type movie, all shot through Zoom. Like you see this.
I remember you talking about that movie.
You even see
it's all shot on Zoom.
They've just recorded the screen of Zoom. You even see the Zoom interface. You see like the little chat. You see the little chat box. You see
wasn't there a movie already taking place kind of like that? It was called Unfriend Me.
There was Unfriended.
Unfriended. That's correct.
But by far the best one I ever saw is called Searching. What's this guy's name? Jonathan Cho, I think. Jonathan Cho. He's the MILF kid from American Pie. MILF,
yeah.
MILF. You know, Jonathan Cho. and he's
Yeah,
looking.
he was on Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, I think it was Harold. Yeah, he was Harold on Harold
Yeah.
and Kumar. And so he's looking for his daughter. His daughter goes missing. He's searching. He's trying to track her down through Facebook, through instant messaging, through her phone, and it's all screen records of the computer and or the phone. Dope fucking movie, man. And then finally, like straight up, Host takes place during the quarantine, and they're doing like this Zoom happy hour seance with a medium, and they want to reach out to a spirit, and they conjure a demon. And bro, it's good freaking movie. And you know what? And what's beautiful about it, what's funny about it, it's so hell bent on playing within the rules of Zoom. It's only an hour long, because you can only have an hour long conversation if you have a free account with more than 2 people. Remember that?
Now, where can our audience check this out?
As far as I know, it's only on Shudder.
On Shudder.
Shudder is like horror. Shudder is like a streaming service like Netflix, but Shudder, it's only horror stuff.
Okay.
Horror and thriller stuff. Really, really, I mean, it's really good.
So you gotta pay for that app?
Yeah, you got. I think you got to pay for Shudder. I mean, I'm sure there's other ways to find hosts. I'm not going to like advocate for illegal downloads or anything like that, but there's other ways to find the movie Host. But it's the Zoom movie Host. There's a shitload of other movies called Host or The Host, but this one's called Host. I think the release date was 2020. Had to have been, if it's about
so it was during quarantine.
Had to have been 2020 release date. Host. You can tell it looks like a webcam movie. It's all shot in Zoom, and it's fucking dope, man.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, it's good. It's good flick, man. But yeah, man. I mean, you been watching anything?
Just been watching a lot of old flicks. Been getting back into sports and watching college football. So getting back into that. I'm glad that college football is back up to speed. The NFL is getting interesting because everything that's going on with COVID. You know, there's no fans in the stands, so it's kind of weird watching football with no fans. And so that's been kind of interesting with the protests that's been going on and so forth. So that's what I've been watching, is trying to get back into sports. But you know, it's definitely weird and interesting of how they're going to do college football, especially because, you know, the Big Ten's not going back until October 24th. So, like, how are they going to do a playoff, you know, at the end of the year? So that's going to be interesting. And, you know, a lot more injuries occurring because of quarantine, because they haven't had a preseason.
Right.
So, but it'll be interesting to see the Ravens versus the Washington football team. Let's get that straight. I keep wanting to say the Redskins, but the Washington football team.
Let's go.
Yeah, is playing the Baltimore Ravens October 4th at 1 p.m. The Battle of the Parkways or Beltways.
Battle of the Beltways, baby.
Whatever you want to call it.
Now, wait a minute. So Battle of the Beltways, does that fall under the football teams too? Because I thought that was like the big deal with the baseball teams. But are they running with that brand as well? Battle of the Beltways?
I guess they are.
Are they?
You know,
or they should. I mean, I remember when you first mentioned that Battle of the Beltways thing. I thought that was
I had a track called the Battle of the Beltways. It was an underground track that I didn't release. You never heard that track, did you?
But it got released?
No, we put it out, but it was underground. It was called Battle of the Beltways. And like one of the lyrics was like, "I battle with the Beltways. I blaze purple haze in the ice age. I'm a beast, a leash from the cage, aka Little Rage, a leash from the cage." You know, like it was just like some underground track that we worked on. Me and Scotty LP back when we were working on music. Like we came out with that track and put it out. but it was on the underground tip, so we never released it. It was an unreleased track called Battle of the Beltways.
You should release it now. You should release it on October 3rd.
I should.
Do you have a copy of it?
Yeah.
I don't think Scotty's going to be pissed off if you.
I mean, it's such an old track.
Years. So,
but
you should release it sooner than later. It's
yeah,
just going to get old. It's just going to get older.
I mean, we did a lot of stuff that we didn't release. I mean, a whole slew of tracks that we did that never got released.
We should release them.
You know, that we
because
did.
that's
like a lot of stuff he had archived. You know what I'm saying? That I don't even have access to.
Right.
That he had that we recorded. I mean, shit. I mean, albums worth of tracks, and then me and Moss did a lot of stuff back in the day, and then me and Che Rock did some tracks back in the day.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, we actually did. We did a few tracks together.
No, you never made any tracks together.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. No, but like, yeah, dude. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you don't want to release something, but just like having like these weird different ideas. Now it's like content's king, man.
It was like the underground stuff that Eminem had archived.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That wasn't good enough to be like released on an album, but was like, hey, all right, this track is still dope, you know?
Right. But then what was it? What he released like unreleased stuff. He did an album of unreleased stuff that was like super old, but this album came out after his second album.
Yeah.
It was like a mixtape or just like some specialty, like unreleased old ass shit. That he did way before.
And then he had some freestyles that he released.
Yeah.
It was like Eminem drunken freestyles or something that he released. Just a bunch of old shit. I mean, but we worked on a lot of music during that time frame. I want to say like the year 2008, 2009. I mean, we were working on a lot of tracks, and then Mossberg hopped on some stuff. Dude, we had a bunch of stuff that was archived. It was crazy. You know? It's funny like how much stuff that you work on over the years, and it's like, wow, that's incredible.
See, yeah. Okay, so he released this album called Infinite.
Yeah, that was the first album he ever made.
Right, but that I don't think that was with Dre. The Slim Shady LP.
No, it wasn't.
Dre.
Yeah, it wasn't.
The Slim Shady LP. So, but I think what Dre did was he re-released Infinite, or Eminem re-released Infinite. So that was repushed, I think, in 2000 or 2001.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that album until after, because his first album or his second album, he wasn't known. You know what I'm saying? Until he got known on his second album.
Technically, his second album was the Slim Shady LP.
Yeah, that was a Slim Shady LP.
The first one he did with Dre.
And he came out with that joint. My name is Slim Shady, and then like everybody was like, "Oh shit, Eminem." He blew up after that.
Right.
But they didn't know him beforehand because he was a freestyle battle rapper.
Right. But Infinite.
And then he put out Infinite before that album.
Right. Yeah. So he put out Infinite
first, and then but he didn't. It was just it didn't get no clout. You know what I'm saying? It didn't get it didn't get any play because this is way post internet days where you can post everything online.
No. See, Infinite was released on Web Entertainment, so I think it was a web release. It was like they were running on this whole, because the web was blown up 95, 96, 97, 98. So he utilized the web, I think.
But I'm saying it wasn't blowing up as it is now with all the streaming services.
So I think they re-released it.
Because he was pushing that on CD.
I think, but I think they re-released Infinite after the Eminem show. So the Eminem show is what I always thought was his third album.
It
Right.
was.
But really it's his fourth. So all his studio albums in actual recording and releasing is Infinite, then Slim Shady LP, then Marshall Mathers LP, then Eminem Show, then Encore, Relapse, Recovery, the Marshall Mathers LP 2, Revival, Kamikaze, and then he just came out with Music to Be Murdered By. Now, collaborative.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay, now fine, but no,
The
right?
Slim-
but like you said, nobody knew about Infinite,
The,
and so
the Slim Shady show was number 4 because the Marshall Mathers
Eminem
LP. Yeah,
it was
the
okay.
Eminem
But what
show.
we know, what we saw come out was So what I always thought was Slim Shady LP was not the first one, and then the Marshall Mathers LP, and then the Eminem show in 2002, and then Encore in 2004, right?
Yeah, I knew about the Infinite album.
When it really came out.
I was listening to Eminem before that time frame, and then like he got signed by Dre,
right?
Because I was in a freestyle battle circuit back in the day. Like I used to listen to a lot of hip hop and was hip to what was going on. And then like once it was like 99. I remember him getting signed, and then that joint came out where my name is Slim Shady, and then like he was on this other joint, with Ruckus Records, Sound Bombing. He came out with the Sound Bombing joint, so he came out with a track on that joint. So that was before. That was before that album first dropped, the one with Dr. Dre. You know, the Sound Bombing joint, because that was underground. You know what I'm saying? So the Sound Bombing joint came out. I want to say before that joint.
On Infinite?
No, it might have been after Infinite. You got to look at Ruckus Records. You got to look at Sound Bombing. Sound Bombing Part 1.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. I don't want to bring the show to a complete halt while I'm doing Wikipedia searches or whatever, but I'll take your word for it. I mean, yeah, dude, like I'm sure like on the independent circuit and on the underground circuit, people were, yo, come rap on my track, come rap on my album. But listen, man, I mean, it's shit like that, dude. Like where you have all these tracks that are like semi-released or never released. Infinite, I for some reason I feel like Infinite was re-released.
Like I was able to
not in
look up,
2016. See, on November.
It got pushed over. Like I found it on YouTube like years later, and it looked like it was a record. It probably got released on a record, you know, because vinyl was really hip back then. Like people released stuff on vinyl. And vinyl was like the big thing that people got hip to, or a mixtape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I remember mixtapes were always blowing up because there was at some point just, and it was fantastic. Like artists were just taking charge of their own careers,
yeah,
and just releasing their own shit.
I mean, a lot of people from Wu-Tang went independent. You know. Like they started putting out independent albums with other artists.
Yeah. Did you ever
like
see
and then there was also like Mobb Deep did like a free agency album, you know, called The Free Agents.
Did you ever see that documentary about that kid that put together that Wu-Tang concert? Oh,
yeah.
What the hell was the name of that movie, man? Rock the Bells.
Yep.
Did you ever see Rock the Bells?
Yeah.
This kid could not book Wu-Tang Clan because RZA shot him down. So he goes, okay, just about all the members of Wu-Tang have solo careers. So he booked all the members of Wu-Tang separately. he put this whole concert together, Rock the Bells.
Yeah, it was. I remember Rock the Bells because they played at Merriweather Post Pavilion in Maryland.
And yeah, but like this documentary was so incredible. This documentary was so freaking incredible, man. So this kid, I don't know, he was like in his 20s. So he just booked he freaking booked everybody, dude. Like,
yeah, it was Capadonna.
He booked
Chuck
Capadonna.
B, like DJ Dice.
No, dude. He booked
the RZA.
He booked Ghostface. He didn't book RZA yet. He booked Ghostface. He booked Capadonna, Inspector Deck, Master Killer, Method Man, Raekwon, Old Dirty Bastard. Who else? You God. Okay. He booked all those dudes separately. And Old Dirty Bastard he got on. And so then of course he calls RZA. He's like, listen, I got him. And RZA's like, you got Old Dirty Bastard? And he goes, yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna have to take a break for a second. I can use the bathroom.
Oh, okay. You do that.
Yeah, we'll pick up this in just a minute.
All right. Yeah, so Rock the Bells. There was like this kid just booked everybody separately. But because he couldn't get RZA's green light, he couldn't make it a Wu-Tang concert. But so he just went around and he went and booked everybody separately. Capadonna, Ghostface, You God, Inspector Deck.
I remember Nas and Damian Marley played at that joint.
Well, they probably came on later. I'm talking about like the very first show. This was in New York, the very first Rock the Bells show this kid put together. And so finally he calls up RZA and goes, listen, I just booked everybody. I just need you. Let's make this a Wu-Tang thing. And he goes, you booked everybody. He goes, I have everybody. Ghostface, He just started naming everybody. And he goes, and Old Dirty Bastard. And RZA's like, you got Old Dirty Bastard? You got ODB? He goes, yes, I have everybody. I have everybody. All I need you. All I need is now. All I need now is you. Let's make this a Wu-Tang thing. He goes, fuck it, let's do it. Like the kid thought outside the box and brought everybody to bring him back inside the box and make it that thing again. That's how you do it, man. You think outside the box, dude. Like, it's dope shit, man. Dope shit.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
All right, so listen, I think next on the agenda, man, is you finding some of these old tracks, man, like retro unreleased something or other, like we come up with a cool little branding for it.
Yeah, because we did a freestyle. I remember this was, I want to say like 2009. We did like a whole freestyle 45-minute joint. Scotty was DJing, and me and Moss were like going back off the head, freestyling the whole joint. It was really cool, man. Like we put it out like as just like a freestyle. Like we were just bobbing one day, man. We put on a couple records and we're like, man, let's just hook up the Shure mic and just freestyle, And it was cool, like how we just did it. It was like some nonchalant shit. Because we all lived in the same area, man. Now we're like in different parts of the universe. Scotty's out in Hotlanta, and like Mossberg's out in the Eastern Shore, and I'm out in the Berg, out in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Represent Fredericksburg. So it was cool. We were able to collaborate. We had all the equipment on at Base Lab Productions. Big up to Base Lab Productions. This was kind of like back in the day from going back like 11, like 12 years ago, man, when we had it all set up. We just had 2 turntables, man. We had a Korg Triton back then. We are kind of making beats off of Fruity Loops and using Pro Tools.
Fruity Loops.
So we came up, man. We were just drinking, man, just having a good time. We are like, man, let's just throw on some records, man, and just bust out the Shure mic and start freestyling. So like Moss hit it off on some freestyles, and then I just came around on the back end and kind of fed off what Mossberg was doing. And next thing you know, we got like a 45-minute track of a continuous freestyling DJ mix, man. It was pretty cool, man. So like it was epic, man. Like I used to do that a lot, man. Like even when I was in the military, man, I always had like 2 Technique 1200s and a mic, and I would just lay down tracks in the barracks, man, and somebody would be freestyling, and dude, that's just how we kicked it. And like a couple times, man, I recorded a lot of stuff in the military with some cats that were like into music, man. I hooked up with some people out there, and like there was a lot of people like doing electronic music back then, man. That was in the year 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
This was back like right when computers started being the main source of music. Like they introduced me to some programs out there when I was introduced to some artists that were military, and they were working on like Reason was real big back then, like early 2001, 2000 to 2005. And like, dude, it was legit, dude. It was cool. And so I've always been involved in the music somehow. Like I remember, man, my buddies played in a band, and like me and Mossberg got up there and just started spitting freestyles like to a funk band. That was like totally legit, Like me, they're like, we had like 8 people on stage, man. They're like, yo, bust out a freestyle. And we just piggybacked on what the other rapper was saying. He spit out like 4 bars, and then the next rapper come out and spit out like 4 bars or 8-bar rotation, whatever the case may be. And then we just kicked it, It was cool. Like we did that shit on a regular, man. Like we used to do that over at Tony Roma's, man, in Bowie. I remember just busting out freestyles. Like we had one drummer that would just kick a beat and then have just different people on stage busting out freestyles. Like, I think we need to go back to that, like for sure. I mean, New York started it on the streets, like back in the 70s, you know what I'm saying? Back in the early 80s, they would just hook up 2 turntables and people would just rock the mic. And it was cool. Like, I think that we need to go back to that element where I don't give a fuck where it is, I don't give a shit if it's an Applebee's and we hook up 2 turntables and a
2
mic.
turntables and a microphone.
And start rocking out freestyles, But those are the type of stuff that me and Mossberg recorded. And like there was a dope band back in the day from Bowie. It was called Written Prism. Now they became the Higher Hands. But they were dope, man. Like the Higher Hands would just play, and you could just get up on a mic and just bust out freestyles. Like they used to play at Salisbury University, man, back in the, I want to say like, probably early 2000s, something like that. They would go up there and play the Written Prism shit. They had a drummer, like a keyboardist. They had like a brass quintet or something like that. And then they had a vocalist. And you just go up there and they would just rock it, man, And they had a guy that could spit. And it was Written Prism, man. That was like their first joint. So like Moss would go up there and spit out freestyles with Written Prism. back in the day, and then they became like more of a band per se, and became higher hands and started playing out for some legit shows, and like they're phenomenal, dude. I mean, yeah, check them out, man. Fucking the higher hands. My boy Marty Bouchard on the drums. My boy Jason Crawford on the vocals. You know, they're legit.
I think I've seen them at Stan and Joe's.
Yeah, they used to play. They hold a residency in Annapolis, Maryland. Like that's their residency was. They play at Stan and Joe's, and then they play at Armadillo's. Was like their residency spot. But they've been doing some dope Zoom shows, man. Dude, with other artists, man, which was like fucking hella cool. I've never seen that before. Which they hook up Zoom and play. Like one guy would play the drums, and then like 8 people on Zoom. You know?
Higher hands, yeah.
Yeah. So check them out.
Jay Crawdads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, yeah, like I've seen them, man. They're fun.
So yeah, we used to kick it with them back in the day.
Where's Metropolitan at? Oh, that's in Annapolis, I guess.
Yeah. They played at Baltimore a lot too. I think they would do very well in New Orleans, bro.
Yeah.
No bullshit, man.
But I don't think they're gonna do that. I don't think they're gonna do that because, man, they're just like they're. I mean, of course, I think they should tour. Like, I think everybody should tour and get like a more national, you know, fan base and more national exposure. But they're Annapolis, man. Like that's their bread and butter. And if they're killing it in Annapolis, then why mess with a winning formula? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean,
I definitely think because New Orleans is such like a jazz-based city, like, and they have a lot of jazz and funk to their sound, like they would kill it in New Orleans. Kill it. 100% kill it. I mean, you saw the music that we saw in New Orleans was like phenomenal, you know? Like even the street performers like blew my mind. The street performers.
Yeah.
Like we
had a good time there, man.
Dude, they were legit, bro.
We had a pretty good time there, man. That was fun. That was a fun time.
Yeah, it was very cool, man. If any of our viewers have never been to New Orleans, check it out.
Gotta go at least once.
It's a beautiful city.
Maybe twice.
I mean, it's a great city. They've been through a lot, and they definitely need everybody's support during the COVID-19 to rebuild that city. It's a beautiful city. I would definitely go again. Absolutely, 100%.
After COVID-19, I'm not going during COVID, but
I mean, after COVID-19, of course.
Yeah. I mean, this sucks, man. This day and age, man, it's like you really think about like, I mean, I'm blessed. I know you're blessed. You're able to produce. You got a lady and you're able to produce. I'm blessed, man. I'm still able to produce. I'm still able to produce and create, you know, me and the wife and the kid, you know, but it's like, it really does suck for a lot of folks who are dependent on crowds and on the masses, and they get their revenue from that. They get their revenue from events and shit like that. And just, you know, like just a society, like we're social creatures. And it's just really sad that this happened. And I'm really looking forward to like the floodgates opening, man, and a vaccine and, you know, safe, you know, just, you know, a safe, healthy, you know, planet. And it's really like the whole planet's been hit hard by this, man. The entire planet, dude. So, I mean, but to leave on a high note, I think we're going to close out, but we're going to close out on a high note. And that is, you know, I'm producing. I got stuff coming out just about every day, like this episode, and more to come. But I think the higher note is that we just realized TechFall's got a shitload of unreleased material that needs to be coming out on a weekly basis. You just got to start finding some old shit, post it, schedule the release dates on everything, or just dump everything now. Just release everything right away. That's probably what you should do. Just start dumping this shit out now.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, man. Bro, I think if you got some unreleased shit, like, who cares if somebody likes it or doesn't? Just put it out there, dude, because someone's gonna like it. And chances are I am, because I like just about all your stuff in the last, especially the last couple of years, man. You really found your sound. You found your sound, dude. And to me personally, your stuff's been banging, dude. So I want to hear some of this unreleased shit, especially if you're rapping on it, because that's always been the thing I was trying to tell you to stick with. It was the rap, and you were always such a great lyricist, great rapper and freestyler. So I want to hear some of this some of this unreleased magic that apparently you've been hoarding from us, and I'm kind of pissed off about that, man. Like, what the what? There's more stuff. There's more stuff from Tech Talk.
Yeah, man. I've been putting in work over the last 15 years. So a lot of stuff. So it needs to be released, and just a lot of tracks I have in the works that are gonna come out soon.
Yeah. Well, look, man. I just sent Have Not Jones your contact information. So sorry, but you're just gonna have to send this guy some of your instrumentals, let him rap over it, and put something out. Yeah,
I'm glad that you like some of the new stuff I sent you.
Yeah, well, those two tracks, yeah, I think he would really put some banging lyrics on it. He's a definitely unique rapper, lyricist, along the lines of like Yellow Wolf and Machine Gun Kelly, and like these, southern. How would I describe him without offending him? Because he does not look like someone I wanted to offend, but he looks like a good old boy Southern rapper. Let me just put it to you like that. I mean, unique image, unique style. So I definitely think you two might click. Yeah. But at least if he was to rap on your stuff, man, just send him some instrumentals, have him rap on them joints. Just make sure, you're able to like understand what he's talking about. That dude is a unique cat, man. I think I had him on a couple episodes ago. So, he's I'm
going to have to check out that episode.
Yeah. Have Not Jones, man. He went from homeless to buying a house. He trims trees, and he raps.
Sounds like KRS-One. He lived in a homeless shelter, and he was rocking freestyle battles. And then he go back to the shelter.
Yeah, man.
Man, well, they found KRS-One sleeping on a park bench. He's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?"
Let's go record an album, bro. All right, brother. Well, listen, man. This was another fun one.
Always a pleasure to be on Zombie SquadCAST. I love being on the show. I love what you're doing. Having all these different artists on your podcast, man. I think we're doing big things. I'm excited for the year, for the rest of the year, 2020 and 2021. I think it's going to be a great year. I mean, forget all the politics and all the BS, man. We're going to keep it moving and keep doing what we're doing. Nobody's going to stop us regardless. We're going to keep prospering and keep making stuff happen, man. We got a lot of stuff going on in 2020 on a positive note, like keeping the production level on a high point. Me, you, and Mickey, Donnie Dirks, Durko, whatever you want to call him. You know, me, TechFall, myself, Glenn the Maniac Nelson. We doing big things in 2020. Zombie Squad. Represent. Check us out at Zombie Squad 211. Check us out at www.deadonpictures.com. You know, Sinister Infinite, Rose Gallery, all that. You know, Facebook, we on that, man. Check us out, Zombie Squad, Dead on Pictures, man. TechFall 211. You know, we making moves in 2020 to 2021 and beyond.
Well, you heard it here. All the links in the description below. TechFall, you know, I appreciate it. That was another fun roundtable. To my viewers, I hope we've earned the privilege of your time and viewership. And until next time, you know what to do.